I thought you said you couldn't play ping pong. Enjoy your stay on our channel again. Tyrone Power was one of the most aesthetically pleasing actors of Hollywood's golden age. He was not only a symbol of beauty and skill, but also of love and devotion. His iconic roles, natural charm, and timeless ability wowed moviegoers all over the world. But behind the bright lights of the silver screen was a life full of storms and inner battles. The stress of fame and personal tragedies were linked. Tyrone Power passed out during an intense scene in Solomon and Sheba. He was at the top of his career at the time, and fans all over the world were shocked and saddened. His short but memorable life came to an end when he left while his star was still shining brightly. The life of Tyrone Power is about being smart and paying for fame, about working hard at art all the time, and about simple dreams that were never realized. Come with us as we look into the life of the man behind the Hollywood star, a brilliant artist who always had to deal with the conflict of fame and pain. Childhood friend. In 1914, Tyrone Power was born in Cincinnati, Ohio. He came from a family with a long history in the arts. Tyrone Power Sr. was a famous actress who worked on stage and in movies, and his mother, Helen Emma Rome, came from a long line of artists. From the moment Tyrone was born, it looked like fate had already planned his path as an artist. Power was born into a well-known family, but his childhood was anything but easy. Due to trips and the busy life of an artist, his father was often not around, leaving the family without a steady, guiding figure. When Tyrone was only 6 years old, his parents got a divorce because their marriage was so tense. After they broke up, the boy lived in California with his mother and sister. His mother encouraged them to study speech and acting because she loved the arts. In 1931, though, Tyrone's father died of a heart attack right in front of him, which broke his heart the most. Even though he was only 17, Tyrone had been trying to learn how to act from his dad. The death of his father was not only a sad event, but it also meant he lost the only friend who could have helped him in the beginning of his career. Tyrone silently promised to fulfill his father's unfulfilled dreams after seeing him die, even if it meant going through a difficult road. Power was determined to get through these hard times, so he set his goals on working in movies. But things did not look good for him in the beginning. Even though his name was Power, he was only cast in small, forgettable parts that didn't make an impact. He got fed up with Hollywood and went to New York to try to start over on Broadway. Katharine Cornell, a famous theater director in New York, became an important mentor for Tyrone. He was able to act in well-known plays like Romeo and Juliet thanks to her. Those long, hard days on Broadway sharpened his acting skills and made him even more sure that he was meant to be famous. This was the start of a long journey that required patience and commitment, while he worked non-stop to make his dad's unfinished dream come true. Tyrone Power beat the chances one step at a time, setting the stage for an amazing career that would leave an indelible mark on the movie world. Starting a career following years of hard work, perfecting his skill on the Broadway stage, Tyrone Power returned to Hollywood with a burning desire to make his mark in the movie business. When he signed a long-term deal with 20th Century Fox, it was his first big break. It was also a turning point in his path to making his movie dreams come true. Power was cast in small parts at first, but her hard work and undeniable ability quickly caught the attention of important filmmakers. Later that same year, when Power got the lead part in Henry King's Lloyds of London, things really started to change. The movie was a huge hit, which not only made the company a lot of money, but also made Tyrone Power one of Hollywood's biggest stars. Power won over viewers quickly with his mesmerizing deep-set eyes, charming smile, and easygoing personality. He even earned the trust of the most picky producers. Power was in a string of hit movies from 1936 to 1939. That made him even more of a starring man. From the intense family drama Old Chicago, to the beautiful music of Alexander's Ragtime Band, to the brave role he played in Jesse James, each project solidified his place in Hollywood's upper echelons. At the box office, these movies broke all kinds of records, and they made Tyrone Power one of the most famous and important stars of his time. A job. After making a name for himself at 20th Century Fox, Tyrone Power quickly reached the height of his career and became one of the biggest stars in Hollywood history. Starting with The Mark of Zorro in 1940, he played a string of famous parts in exciting adventure movies that fans loved. Power not only wowed audiences with his beauty and charm as Zorro, the hooded hero who fights for justice, but also showed off their amazing skill in the movie's superb swordplay. Basil Rathbone, who played his co-star, once said, "Tyrone Power is the fastest with a sword I've ever seen." The movie did very well at the box office, becoming one of the year's biggest hits and solidifying Power's role as a male movie star. Power was good at many things besides making action movies, displaying amazing adaptability as he played complicated characters in a range of genres. In 1946, he made a big impact with The Razor's Edge, in which he played Larry Darrell, a man who gives up a life of luxury to find meaning in his life after the war. The movie was nominated for 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, and Power's act was one of the best parts. The next year, in 1947's Nightmare Alley, he pushed his limits even more. In this dark film noir, he played Stanton Carlyle, a smart con artist who falls into corruption and corruption. Even though it wasn't a big hit at the box office, Nightmare Alley later got great reviews, and Power's act was called one of the best of his career. Back in the 1950s, Power did something brave when he quit 20th Century Fox to work as an independent actor. This gave him the freedom to choose projects that fit with his artistic goals. One of the most famous movies from this time was The Eddie Duchin Story, which came out in 1956 and was a biographical story about the tragic life of pianist Eddie Duchin. The movie did very well at the box office, and Power was paid a huge $1 million, which was a lot of money for the time. Power left the movie business and went into theater, where he was able to be artistic and found a new love for acting. Stage shows like Mr. Roberts and The Devil's Disciple not only helped him get better, but they also showed that he was a versatile artist who wasn't afraid to try new things. At the same time, he kept giving great performances in movies, such as Witness for the Prosecution, 1957, based on the book by Agatha Christie. Power got a lot of praise for his part as Leonard Vole, a suspect who was shrouded in mystery and inner turmoil. The movie was nominated for 6 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. During his career, Power never won an Oscar or Golden Globe for an individual performance, but his magnetic screen presence and timeless acts will always be remembered. His movies always did well at the box office, and he was often on lists of the biggest movie stars in the 1930s and 1940s, reaching a high point of 2nd place in 1939. Throughout his work, Tyrone Power was always trying to make his art better. He wasn't just a big hit at the movies. He was also a real artist who was always looking for new ways to do things and was up for a challenge. His famous parts and lasting talent will always be remembered in the hearts of moviegoers and in the history of Hollywood movies. Life outside of work and sad struggles without the bright lights of being one of Hollywood's biggest stars, Tyrone Power's personal life was full of problems and conflicts. Power got a lot of attention because he was one of the most attractive guys in movies. But the same thing that made him attractive also made people constantly look into and watch his private life. He was married 3 times, and each one was full of love, passion, and trouble. People used to think that Power's first marriage to French actress Annabella in 1939 was one of the sexiest stories in Hollywood. Annabella was not only a happy wife, but she also had a daughter from a past relationship in the beginning of his work. But 20th Century Fox put a lot of pressure on the couple to get married because they were afraid that Power's marriage would make him less appealing to female fans. These outside stresses slowly drove a gap between the couple. After Power came back from World War II, they tried to fix their relationship, but they couldn't, because they had too many disagreements and were moving farther apart. In 1948, they got a divorce. Not long after, it was 1949 when Power married actress Linda Christian. Their wedding was very fancy and got a lot of attention from the public and the media. But behind the glitz was a relationship that was in trouble. Power's busy work schedule kept him away for long periods of time, and reports of his cheating kept going around. This made Linda's emotional problems worse. They had 3 failed pregnancies before they finally had 2 girls, Romina Francesca Power and Tyrone Stephanie Power. But as their disagreements got worse, they finally split up in 1955. Power's third marriage to Deborah Jean Smith, a young, free-spirited woman, gave people hope that they could have a full family again. In 1958, not long after they got married, Deborah got pregnant. Power was thrilled to hear the news. He had always hoped to have a son who would carry on his work. Poor Power, he died before he could meet his son, Tyrone Power, Jr., who was born soon after he did. Deborah, even though she was very sad, worked hard to raise their son, even though Power's death would never be forgotten. Power's personal life was formed by the stresses of fame and rumors that would not go away. His good looks made him emotionally interested in many of Hollywood's leading ladies. They are Ava Gardner and Lana Turner. Power's relationship with Lana Turner caused a lot of controversy when she got pregnant with his child. She decided not to go through with the pregnancy because Power didn't want to get married at the time. Another thing that caused rumors was Power's sexuality, which was fueled by his close friendships with well-known LGBTQ+ people in Hollywood. Even though these reports got a lot of attention, Power did not confirm or deny them in public. He was under a lot of pressure from the public to keep up a perfect image, which was hard on him because all he wanted was peace and the simple joys of a loving family. Power was a huge star on TV, but he had simple goals: peace, love, and the happiness of a happy family inside him. But Hollywood's bright lights made those dreams hard to see, leaving gaps that can't be filled. With all of its glitz and sadness, Tyrone Power's personal life is a moving symphony of loss and compromise in the harsh world of entertainment. That wasn't the end of T. Power's bad luck. As he continued to work hard on his art, the last few years of his life were a strange mix of happiness and sadness, while their health was getting worse and their stress levels were rising. During this time, he had a lot of success with movies like The Eddie Duchin Story, 1956, which was a touching look at the life of the famous musician Eddie Duchin, and Witness for the Prosecution, 1957, which was based on Agatha Christie's book of the same name. Power gave a great performance as Leonard Vole in the second one. Vole was a complicated and mysterious character, even though his fame was still strong. Because he lived a poor life, Tyrone Power's health started to get worse. He was a heavy smoker who smoked 3 to 4 packs a day. His long hours at work also hurt his body. These problems were made worse by the fact that his father had died of heart disease, and now it was also a threat to him. Even though his doctors told him not to, Power ignored the warning signs and kept working hard.